Good morning. How is everybody doing this morning? Hey, thank you so much for hopping on this live this morning. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? For those of you, I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I would love to know where you're tuning in from. So if you wouldn't mind dropping that in the chat. I love connecting with people from all over the world who have an interest in making a difference. So I pray that what I share helps to avoid the same mistakes that I've made. And if you are struggling with your health in any way, shape, or form, okay, the information that I'm going to share could change your life. And if there's somebody that you know and love and care about that needs to hear this, feel free to share this live with them so that they can hop on, they can listen, they can ask questions. Joanne, thank you for being on. Appreciate you. And so I want to welcome you this morning to this live. You know, we're talking about something that affects 90% of, over 90% of people. And Carrie Flynn, good morning. Right? What I'm going to be talking about affects over 90% of adults, and most people don't even know that they have it. But before we jump in, I always like to know where people, and Carrie Flynn, thank you. I always love to know where people around the world are tuning in from. I'm in Mesa, Arizona, which is a suburb of Phoenix. So if you've ever been to Arizona, it's absolutely beautiful right now. The weather's perfect. And, you know, if your health hasn't been where you want it to be, stay with me, because this could be one of the most important conversations that you hear this year. If you know someone who's struggling, go ahead and again, share this live with them so that they can listen, they can ask questions. Okay. And I'm going to share some personal things with you. And I truly pray that it helps you to avoid some of the mistakes that I've made. So, you know, Solomon said in the Bible, in all you're gaining, gain understanding. Well, let me tell you, when you understand insulin resistance, it'll change how you think about how the body actually works. And in all honesty, that is what completely changed my life. You know, for most of my life, I was dealing with symptoms that I didn't understand. And no one ever explained the real connection between them. And so what I eventually learned was something called insulin resistance. It is a metabolic condition that's now incredibly common, right? It's associated with things like weight struggles and blood sugar issues, hormone imbalances, and cardiovascular risk. And the shocking part is that most people are never directly tested for it. They don't even know it's present. And for those of you that are just hopping on, I'm talking about an important topic that affects over 90% of us. It's called insulin resistance. Now, most doctors are not talking about insulin resistance, even though it happens to be the root cause of all of these health issues. Nobody's talking about it. And yet it is affecting the majority of us. So I hope and pray as I share this information that, again, it helps you to understand how our body reacts, why we have these health issues, and most importantly, what you can do to fix it. I've had some close calls with my own health. And once I finally understood what was happening metabolically, everything started to make sense. Some of you know my story, some of you don't. But in November of 2014, I donated a kidney to my sister's husband. And I'm very grateful for that. I was grateful for the opportunity to have donated the kidney. I was very honored. But what happened to me was that 7 years later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. And my nephrologist said, Troy, if you don't lose weight, if you don't change your diet, you're going to end up on dialysis. And that scared me because I've always been healthy. And over the past 2 years now, I have focused on improving my insulin sensitivity. My energy levels have gone up. My labs have improved. My stage 4 kidney disease, ladies and gentlemen, went away. Jeremy, good morning. My quality of life changed in ways that I didn't expect. That's why I do these lives. Not to scare people, but to give people information that I wish I had earlier. Now, here's something that surprised me. When you go to a doctor and your cholesterol is elevated, medication is often discussed first. There are millions of Americans on lipid-lowering medications, and for many people, they're helpful and maybe even necessary. But what most people aren't told is that nutrition and metabolic health play a major role in this. You know, one of the most interesting things I came across was a clinical study conducted with support from the Cleveland Clinic, the number one heart hospital in the world, right? The Cleveland Clinic's the number one heart hospital in the world. And they studied 119 hyperlipidemia patients, and they gave half a placebo, and they gave a half a special formulated fiber, right? Good morning, Monique. And in their concluding statement, they said that if people were to use this on a regular basis, it would decrease cardiovascular risk on a population basis. The number one heart hospital in the world saying that if you use this on a regular basis, that it would decrease cardiovascular disease on a population basis. You guys realize that heart disease is the number one killer in the world. And most people have no idea that it's caused by one thing that you can actually start fixing naturally. See, the reason why they don't tell you how to do certain things is because you're taking away income from them. Doctors test what they can medicate. And the conclusion was this, right? That you can actually improve insulin sensitivity without the need for meds or diets. Boo Boo, thank you for the follow. You can improve your health without the need for meds or diets or crazy exercises. The sad part is most people just don't know because nobody talks about it. You know what's interesting is how many of you remember Rexall drugs? Is there anybody on here that remembers Rexall drugs? Rexall drugs used to be the biggest drugstore in the world. They started in 1903. Okay, Terry. And back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, these, and I apologize, my allergies are bothering me. These doctors, right? One of the doctors that was involved in helping to create this fiber matrix said that if you were a medical professional, like if you were a doctor, if you were a nurse, and if you saw the solid evidence that they had that this actually works and that actually helps to improve people's health, they said that if you knew about it, but you were unwilling to share it with people that you knew that were struggling with their health, especially if you were a medical professional, they said it was borderline malpractice. They said that if we have solid evidence, people deserve to be informed of their options, not necessarily instead of medical care, but in addition to what they might already be doing. Because informed patients make better decisions. Terry, I love that. Okay. So think about this for a second. Here's why this conversation matters. In the United States, over 90% of adults are metabolically unhealthy. Actually, 93% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. 3 out of 4 adults are overweight or obese. And more than half are pre-diabetic or diabetic. Positive vibes, thank you for the follow. We're seeing these issues show up earlier in kids and teens. This isn't a personal failure. And positive vibes, thank you for reposting this. I appreciate you. This is a metabolic environment problem. I seriously wish I would have known about this 20, 30 years earlier. My dad passed away on Easter Sunday, 2017. I miss my dad. I wish my dad was still here. My brother in January of 2005, he was 33 years old when he was, unfortunately, when he decided to take his own life. That was 21 years ago. This isn't a personal failure. Okay? That just goes to show us how big of a problem this really is. You notice that let me put this in here because I think this will put it into perspective. Okay, where is this? You notice that the Bible tells us that a good tree can't produce bad fruit. Well, look at this. Look at the fruit and look at the root. And Carrie Cox, thank you for the follow. Think about this. The fruit is high cholesterol, it is fatigue, it is arthritis, it's blood pressure, it's thyroid issues, it's anxiety, it's autoimmune, it's all of these things that unfortunately we struggle with. But the root, which is insulin resistance, is something that we rarely ever talk about. And if we never address the root, folks, if we never talk about the root cause, right, the fruit on this tree is going to continue to come back. Now, as I'm talking, I want you guys to think about your own health. And Carrie Cox, and Tube, thank you for the follow. What do I think about it? I think they're dangerous. I was actually given one when I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. Some of you know my story, but in November of 2014, I donated a kidney, and I'm grateful for that. But it was 7 years later when I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. My nephrologist said, Troy, you need to lose some weight. You need to change your diet. And if you're unwilling to make these changes, you're going to end up on dialysis or worse. So my doctor gave me a medication to help force the body. Because think about this. You can't give yourself a GLP-1. Your body makes it, right? You can't give yourself one because your body is producing it. But these medications, you don't have to believe me. Go look up the side effects to the medications you're on, and I think you will be absolutely blown away by the side effects that they can cause. Why am I going to put something in my body that can cause gastroparesis? It can cause the C word that we celebrate in September. It can cause a lot of major serious health issues. That's the last thing that I want to put in my body. And far too many of you are putting that in your body because, well, celebrities are talking about it, right? Give me just a second, folks. So this is why I talk about this. I am drinking a yerba mate tea, but it's not like anything that you are familiar with. It is a patented yerba mate tea. It's loaded with theobromine and chlorogenic acid. I'm going to talk about this in a second, but folks, the reality is that look around us. We can throw a pebble down the street and you're going to run into at least 10 people that are struggling with these health issues. Now, I want you to look at my sidekick right here. Aw. She just wants to bite me, though. She just wants to bite. No bite. And so, right, Carrie Flynn, it is this delish, right? So, folks, you're not alone. You're not broken. Okay. If you've ever been told that you can't improve your health, first and foremost, don't believe it because you can. Okay. And this morning, I'm going to walk you through two simple foundations that support insulin sensitivity. I'm also going to share a tool that has helped people around the world simplify this process. Right, Naileen's adorable sidekick, huh? And so I'm going to share this with you. And I'm going to talk about why this is helping so many people. It's helping people get off their meds. It's helping people to improve their insulin sensitivity. It is helping people to improve their health in ways that they never thought was even imaginable. Right? Because most of us, here's the part that no one wants to tell you, folks. If I have IBS and I've got migraines and I have cholesterol issues, and let's say that I go to 3 different doctors. I go to 3 different doctors. I'm going to pay 3 different copays, and I'm going to walk out with at least 3 different medications, and not one of those meds even touches the root cause. All of these meds that you're on, folks, all they're doing is masking the symptoms. It's managing the numbers. That's all it's doing. It's treating your symptoms. You're never going to fix the root cause until you focus on fixing the root cause. Let me ask you this. What if instead of chasing these symptoms, which is what most of us are doing, what if instead of chasing the symptoms, we tackled the one thing that's causing them all? That would make the most sense, right? That is what is not happening in our healthcare system. See, all they're doing is managing the numbers, the symptoms. But the moment you stop those meds, what do you think happens? All of those symptoms come right back. How many of you have ever tried a diet? Right? How many of you have tried a diet and you lose weight and then you stop the diet and you gain that weight back, right? And Carrie Cox, I get it. being hypoglycemic and experiencing what you're going through, I get it. This is exactly why I get on these lives every single day, because I truly believe that you can actually improve the quality of health without the need for meds or diets. This is why I do this. So let's talk about insulin for a second. Okay, insulin is a critical hormone, right? And it plays a critical role in how your body uses energy, right? Every time you and I eat, every time we take a bite of something, especially sugar and carbs, we spike our blood sugar. And when you spike your blood sugar, you're spiking your insulin. Okay? When you spike your insulin, okay, insulin is there to help bring the blood sugar levels back down. What happens though is that your insulin is high all day long, right? Carrie Cox's insulin is high all day long. There's something that's called hyperinsulinemia, right? Where your body is literally swimming in insulin. So you could be doing everything right, Carrie, and you're still gaining weight. Now the reason why, and the reason for that is because your insulin is still high. We've got to address your insulin. We've got to do everything we can to start lowering your insulin. But the reality is that when you and I eat foods, okay, we're constantly spiking our glucose, which in turn constantly spikes our insulin. And I want you to understand something, the difference between blood sugar and insulin, okay? Blood sugar goes up and down really fast like a rabbit. This is one of the reasons why you can eat food, and then 20 or 30 minutes later, your blood sugar comes crashing down, and now you need sugar, you need sweets, you need something, right? Or you're hungry again, or you're tired, you're ready for a nap, okay? So glucose moves very fast, it's like a rabbit. Insulin, on the other hand, it moves very slow, okay? It's like a tortoise or a turtle, right? They both move very slow. And here's the truth when it comes to your glucose. And let me see if I'm pretty confident that I have, yeah. So this is what happens, okay? You notice that the turquoise, and I know you guys can't see that, but what happens is when your blood sugar goes up because you've taken a bite of something, your body releases insulin to bring this glucose back down, okay? The problem is that you and I are eating literally all day long. Let me ask you this question. How many of you watching this live right now were told to eat 3 meals a day and to snack 2 to 3 times throughout the day? And Vicky, thank you for the follow-up. How many of you were eating 3 meals a day and you're snacking throughout the entire day? Or how many of you were told to move more and eat less, right? They call this the calories in, the calories out approach. And Boo Boo, that's a really good question, and I'm going to answer that in just a second. Chuck Stevens, 961, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Folks, insulin is a hormone that plays a critical role in how our bodies use energy. I want you to think of insulin like a key that opens the door to your cells so that glucose can move from your bloodstream into the cell where it is used for energy. It's used for fuel. There's only 2 natural stages of life where a temporary level of insulin resistance is actually helpful, and that is puberty and pregnancy, because this is when your body is prioritizing growth. Folks, outside of those stages, chronically elevated insulin becomes a very serious problem. It does. When insulin stays high for too long, what happens is that your cells stop responding to insulin in the way that it should. And then the body then compensates by producing more insulin to try to get the same job done. This condition is what is called insulin resistance. Your cells become resistant to insulin's knock at the door. And it is far more common than most people realize. And over time, the cycle places a lot of stress on the body. It contributes to a wide range of health challenges that people have. Okay. And right now, more than half of the people here in the US are diabetic or pre-diabetic. And nearly 3 out of 4 people are overweight or obese. Think about this. Rates of cardiovascular disease, autoimmune conditions, they go up. Fertility issues, sperm counts are going down by 1% every year. Metabolic dysfunction becomes a major issue. It continues to rise. And these challenges, ladies and gentlemen, are not just limited to physical health. Insulin resistance has also been associated with fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, mood changes, right? And all of these things affect the quality of life in powerful ways. And what makes this especially frustrating is that these symptoms are often treated separately, right? Someone may receive one medication for blood pressure, another for cholesterol, another for blood sugar, without ever trying to fix the root cause, without trying to figure out what's causing them all together. Tiffany, good morning. When we only manage symptoms, the root issue remains, right? I hope that this is making sense. I hope it's helping you to give you a synopsis on what insulin resistance is and why the majority of our country is sick. Seriously. And by the way, if you are sick, okay, and Jill, I dealt with that for most of my life. I don't deal with that anymore. And here's the truth. When you and I go to a doctor because we're struggling with our health, what do doctors typically do? They typically suggest medications first, right? Don't they? And for those of you that are on medications, I want you to answer this question to yourself. You can put your answer in the chat, but I want you to answer this question honestly. Are the medications and the treatments your doctor giving you helping you to fix your health or just manage it? If you wouldn't mind, if you feel comfortable, share that in the chat. Do you think the medications and the treatment that you're getting is fixing it or just managing it? And if you feel like it's just managing it, are you open to doing what you've got to do to actually take care of your own health and get off these meds? Because at the end of the day, folks, your body is not designed to be on a bunch of chemicals that have serious side effects. It's crazy to think that there are people that knowingly and willingly take these medications, even though it can cause the C word, it can cause tumors to happen, it can cause gastroparesis, it can cause all of these things. Why are we continuing to put things in our body that cause us greater harm than good? Terry, thank you so much. And Jill, you're not alone. Most people experience warning signs of insulin resistance long before they are ever diagnosed with diabetes. This could be in the form of stubborn belly FAT, constant cravings, you're feeling hungry all the time, high blood pressure or high cholesterol, okay, hormone imbalances, right, such as PCOS or low testosterone, migraines, poor sleep, brain fog, okay, skin issues like skin tags or dark patches on the neck or armpits. What about joint pain? What about chronic inflammation? Jill, these are not personal failures, okay? They are signals from our body that something's off, something's wrong. And folks, I want you guys to understand that you can improve your health, right? I love this. I love getting on these lives because most people don't know that you can actually improve your health naturally. And so, what about depression? And I think that every medication is bad. Now, I want you guys to understand something important here. Okay, I am not anti-medicine. Okay, I'm not anti-doctor. I am anti-ignoring the root cause. Now, I want to address a question. Okay, Carrie Cox asked a question, right? I get this question all the time, right, about parasites, and this is a great question. And I want to be very responsible in how I answer it, right? There are parasites in the world, but the internet has made it sound like everyone has this and that everybody needs a cleanse. And that is simply not true. Okay. What is extremely common and what most people are actually dealing with is insulin resistance, blood sugar dysfunction, and poor gut health. When your metabolism is off, your digestion slows, right? Your gut your gut environment weakens, which is why we're sick all the time. Okay. Your immune system isn't as reliant as you would like it to be. This is why people are getting bloating, okay, fatigue, brain fog, cravings, inflammation through the roof. And people assume it must be parasites. In most cases, it's metabolic dysfunction, not parasites. It has nothing to do with it. And this is exactly why I teach the Feel Great system. Because we don't diagnose or treat parasites. What we focus on is stabilizing your blood sugar. What we focus on is helping to reduce your insulin spikes. We focus on feeding your gut with good bacteria or good fiber, right? We help support digestion and metabolic health. And when you lower insulin, you improve your digestion, you nourish the gut properly, your body becomes a much healthier environment overall. And if your cells are healthy, you are healthy, right? If your cells are sick, you are sick. And a healthy body is naturally more resilient, right? So Carrie Cox, I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine, being, I mean, that's many times been hit by 4 cars as pedestrian. So exercise is hard. I have to say that's something I've never heard before. I would maybe stay out of the street, right? That would be the advice that I would give you. If you've been hit by 4 cars as a pedestrian, I would probably stay out of the intersection. Folks, instead of trying to kill something, we focus on making the body strong. That's our goal, right? If someone's worried about parasites, the first step isn't a cleanse. It's fixing your blood sugar. It's fixing your digestion. It's fixing your gut. It's helping to improve your insulin sensitivity. That's what this is all about. This is exactly why I get on here and I teach this. And folks, I use a chlorogenic acid tea that shuts the food noise off. It allows me to fast. Sipping on this tea is absolutely amazing. It tastes amazing. Look who else is hungry. Toothless. She wants food. Her name is Toothless because she looks like the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. Folks, the bottom line in this live is my hope and my prayer is to help you understand what insulin resistance is so that you can actually improve your health without feeling like you have to rely on meds or diets. That's why I do this. And Jill and anyone else who is on a medication, who's struggling with your health, you can start to improve it naturally. One of the biggest challenges is that insulin resistance is rarely tested directly, right? Think about this. Doctors don't talk to you about fixing the root cause. Doctors make money when they prescribe, okay? Seriously, doctors prescribe medication and they make money when you use it. Doctors will never ever test what they can't medicate. And BG Harris, I would love to work with you. And by the way, the information is on my TikTok page. My pinned videos explain a lot of this. But for those of you, BG Harris, okay, it's called the Feel Great System. And the reason why it's called the Feel Great System is because it makes you feel great when you're on it. Folks, it's clinically proven to work. It has been studied hundreds and hundreds of times. Folks, this is in the PDR, the same place that your doctors prescribe meds to you. And most people have no idea that it even exists because doctors aren't trying to fix the root cause. The more medications you're on, the more money they make. And Debbie, thank you for the follow. Right? And Rhonda, and then they want you to come in the office before, right? Isn't that interesting? Okay. Temporary solutions for permanent problems. Okay. Folks, if that's your mentality that this is a permanent problem, it's not. We've been brainwashed to think that you can't reverse type 2 diabetes. We've been brainwashed to think that we can't improve our health, right? We have been ingrained that we have to rely on these meds. That's not true. Guys, meds are meant to be a temporary solution. And most of you have been told that you've got to be on these meds for the rest of your life. You don't. And you know what's crazy? I get this all the time. You notice how all the horrible things, the medications, the bad food, right? It's cheap. And in many cases, many of you that are watching this live right now, and no offense, but you are those individuals that are like, I get my medications for free. It's managing my symptoms. I'm very happy with that. Folks, I'm not your guy. If that's you, I am not your guy. If you are happy with just managing your symptoms and you're okay with a quick fix, I'm not your guy. Have no desire to help you. I'm not interested in helping somebody who just wants a quick fix. If you think getting healthy is expensive, wait until you are sick. And you go from one specialist to another urgent care hospital, whatever that is. Folks, we have a natural solution to the biggest health problem in the world, and nobody knows about it. We are the only company in the world that has a chlorogenic tea and a fiber matrix that happen to be listed in the same doctor's Bible, that's what we call it, where they prescribe medications. It's called the physician's desk reference. Far too often, ladies and gentlemen, all we are doing is throwing medications at our symptoms, and we're not trying to fix the root cause. Rhonda Flores says, I've reversed all my issues with what Troy is talking about. You won't regret it. Thank you, Rhonda. Folks, this conversation is not about avoiding doctors or medications. And I'm not anti-doctor. I'm not anti-medicine. I'm anti-ignoring the root cause. If you were my own family members, I would be telling you, do everything you can to improve your health and get off your meds. You don't need to be on them. They're not going to make you better. They're going to manage your symptoms. That's exactly what they do. They manage your symptoms. They're not trying to fix it. And if you're at a point in your life where you are ready to fix your health and get off these meds and get off these statins, you guys realize that this fiber that I'm talking about is the only clinically proven, patented natural alternative on the face of this earth that does the exact same thing as your statin drugs that doctors want to give you. There's over 1 billion people, 1 billion with the B, that are on a statin. Folks, go look up the side effects of your statin. And if you're okay with putting that into your body, knowing exactly what it's doing inside of your body, here's the problem with insulin resistance. It is silent for a long time until it is no longer silent. So you guys might feel like, I'm fine. Everything feels good until it doesn't. That's what insulin resistance is. It's like you can have this fire that is burning out of control over 10 to 20 years before it even leads to a diabetes diagnosis. Guys, it's about supporting your body alongside what you might already be doing. There are foundational lifestyle strategies that consistently improve insulin sensitivity without extreme diets or intense workouts and without the need for meds. So understanding what is happening in your body is the first step towards making changes that actually last. And if any of this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Many people are walking this path without ever being given the full picture. And once you understand how insulin works and how insulin resistance, okay, go on. Once you understand how this works and how insulin develops over time, you can begin to connect the dots and take meaningful steps towards better metabolic health. This is exactly why I do this. And for those of you that happen to live in the United States, the system that I use, that information is on my TikTok page. It comes with a 90-day, BG Harris, you mentioned I'm ready. And if anyone else is ready, it comes with a 90-day guarantee. Folks, if you try it and you don't like it, you get your money back. It is $5 a day. Some of you have told me that $5 a day is a lot of money, and I'm not sure what world you live in, but we spend more than $5 just going to Starbucks. I have people that are on Social Security, they have no income. I have people that are on disability that are using this system because their life and their health is more important than getting free medications from the government. Folks, I have people that literally have no money coming in, but their family is on the system and they're saving more money than before they got on the system. That's what this has the power to do. There's 3 things that I teach people: fasting, fiber, and making sure that you have the right tools. When you have the right tools, you can accomplish things that you need to get done. Your body is an instrument, it's a vehicle. And Rhonda is one of those people. You don't have to walk this alone. Folks, I'm somebody that used this to reverse stage 4 kidney disease naturally, without the need for meds or diets. The biggest health crisis in the world today is not just our economy. It is insulin resistance. And Monique, I would love to invite you. Monique is also one of my, she was a customer and now she happens to be a partner. Now, Monique, I would love for you to come on and share a little bit about your story. Monique is a new dear friend of mine. She lives in Canada. I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yep.
I'm sorry.
So Monique happens to, and I love working with Monique. Monique is passionate about helping people. And if you are following Monique, right, she's using the same system that I use. It has changed her life and she's on a mission to help a lot of people. So if you know her, reach out to Monique and ask her what it is that she's using. But Monique, if you wouldn't mind just taking a minute or two and just kind of sharing your experience and why you are doing this and why you're using this and why other people that are watching that might be skeptical should stop being skeptical and do it.
Well, a year ago in January, I was 198 pounds and I had diabetes, type 2 diabetes. I wasn't taking any medications because I really didn't trust it much. My sugar levels were sitting above 17 to at least 23.
Wow.
So that's very high. I tried doing a carnivore diet. I did lose about 25 pounds roughly, but then I developed fatty liver. So I knew I was in a lot of trouble because my sugars wasn't coming down either. And I ran across your live feed and I started seeing all the comments in the comment section of people that were already doing the protocol. And how successful they were and all that. So I started looking more into it. And one day I just kind of said, just like you say, I've got nothing to lose. It's got a 90-day money back guarantee. So I'm going to try this. And now I'm 11 months into this. But in 9 months, I reversed my diabetes. I don't have any more signs of fatty liver. All my migraines are gone. My sciatic nerve is gone. I've lost another 47 pounds, so I'm sitting at 127 pounds this morning.
I love that.
My skin is clearer. I've got new hair growth. The list goes on. I've had a lot of joint pain, neuropathy. It's all gone. All of it's gone.
I freaking love that.
Still have a little bit to go, maybe 15 pounds ish, but the last 15 pounds is always harder. But it's still doing like other work, right? Because it's, I abused myself big time. I ate a lot of candy and sugary goods. Even after being having breast cancer, I had triple negative breast cancer in 2017.
That's crazy.
And I just had a mammogram yesterday, and next week I find out the results, and I know it's going to be fine.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what have your energy levels been like?
Oh, tons of energy. A year ago, I couldn't walk around the street, like just down my street, and I live on a dead end street here. And now I go for walks every day to the park. I walk anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. That's just one day that I do that on top of multiple walks during the day. I couldn't sit down on the floor with my knees and then get up without aid. Now I can go up and down, no problem. I can crawl around on the floor. I've got energy galore. Yeah. I feel so much younger. I'm 60 years old, but I feel like I'm about 40.
I love that.
And I've got 2 little grandkids that are like 5 and 6 years old, and I play with them actively. I go around and kick the ball. I hang outside with them all day long, and yeah, we play a lot out there, and yeah,
and
very active.
Would you say that 6 months ago or even a year ago you would have been able to do that, or you would even have wanted to do that?
I never dreamed in my life that this was this powerful. Honestly, I've tried different things in the past and maybe lost tops 20 pounds. I've got kids that are as old as 40 years old, and they have never, ever seen me as small as I am right now.
I love that.
So I've carried this weight plus for over 40 years.
Wow. Monique, you have such an incredible story. And, I think as we get older, I think we just often think that this is where we're at, right? We're getting older, our body starts to deteriorate. And I don't think that people realize that we can actually improve these. I think that for the most part, people just think, well, nope, this is my new mission in life, right? This is where, this is what's going to just be for the rest of my life. I'm going to be dealing with all of these issues. And it doesn't have to do that.
I honestly was at a point that something had to give. And thankfully I ran across this, and it's changed my life dramatically for the better.
I love that. And Monique, for those of you that are watching Monique and follow Monique, you know her, right? You've seen her over the last several months, and you've seen the changes that have happened. So if you are connected with her, please reach out to her. You have literally nothing to lose to even learn about this. This has saved my life. I've been using this for 2 years. I wish that somebody would have shared this with me back in 2004. Potentially my brother would still be here. My dad would still be here. And there's so many people in our lives that are sick. And we just go to a doctor, and it's like one more medication after another, and it doesn't have to be that way. And you've just heard Monique's story. And I mean, that's incredible. You've got an amazing story. The weight that you've lost, the energy, all of these things have improved, and you're feeling better, right? And you're spending time with your grandkids, and your grandkids are going to remember that. They're going to remember that, Grammy spending time with us, right? And that's what's so great about this is, you know, life is short, but sometimes I think we make it even shorter. And it doesn't have to be that way.
I was even on prescribed sleeping pills, and up until 3 months ago, I quit taking them, and I'm sleeping. Before this protocol, if I didn't take my sleeping pills, I'd be up all night long. I could not sleep. Now I'm sleeping anywhere from 6 to 8 hours.
I love that.
So, like, yeah, it's changed so much, so much, and my whole, like, even my mood is much better. Like, I was doing a lot of grieving because I've lost a lot, and I have a whole different outlook now.
Well, Monique,
So it's amazing.
you're an inspiration to a lot of people that are in your shoes, right? And believe it or not, there's a lot of people that you're going to connect with that, you know, nobody else can. And they're going to see your story. And I just love that. I love just, you know, from talking to you months ago to seeing where you are now, like you have blossomed into this just bright, energetic individual. And I just think it's amazing. And this is why we get on here and this is why we do this every day. This is why we share this, because this is the possibility. You can't get that with the medications. Medications, you know, just unfortunately it just keeps us where we don't want to be. And so thank you so much, Monique, for coming on and for sharing this and for sharing your experience, your story. I love this.
The only advice I can give to everybody is, for anybody that's skeptic out there, honestly, what do you have to lose but the weight and all the ailments that come along with that insulin resistance, right?
Well, and you mentioned some.
It does have a money back guarantee, so
Mhm.
you know.
Well, and you mentioned something that I don't think we often think about, right? We know diabetes, we know weight, but most people don't realize fatty liver disease. Fatty liver is dangerous. And the problem is
non-alcoholic fatty liver.
Yeah. And what's crazy is, you know, before 1980, people that had fatty liver were people who drank alcohol. You guys realize that alcohol and sugar both go directly to your liver. And so now they call it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And we've got 3-year-olds that are being diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. We have 2-year-olds being diagnosed with diabetes. And the problem is that we are eating more sugar. Think about this. Our kids, by the time they are 7 or 8 years old, have eaten more sugar than people did 100 years ago in their entire lives. And you wonder why 93% of people are metabolically unfit, 54% of people are diabetic or pre-diabetic, 3 out of 4 people are overweight or obese. Like, this is real, folks. Look around you. When you go to the grocery store and you go to Costco, you're running into all of these people that are walking with walkers and, you know, are clearly on medicine. I mean, the pharmacy line blows me away. That just in about every facility that we go to, there's a pharmacy. You know, think of a grocery store. You guys realize that when you go to a grocery store, they have a really tiny section that is that health and nutrition section. Well, what does that make the rest of the store? Right?
Labeled stuff.
Barcodes and labels.
Yeah. It's interesting because, you know, most people will only look at the chart where it gives you your carbohydrate, fat intake, but then nobody flips it around and looks at the actual ingredients. And the ingredients is where the hidden sugars and chemicals are.
Yep.
Unfortunately. I trust too much what's in the stores, right?
Yeah. And I think we trust too much on what men and women who are wearing the white coats are telling us, right? They sometimes talk to us in a language to where we can't we can't really understand what they're saying. So it's almost like we feel obligated to listen to the advice that they're giving us. Folks, we don't need 3 meals a day. We don't need to snack like we're still toddlers. We're not. And here's what's great about this system. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to eat a specific diet, right? In my opinion, and many other professionals, Dr. Jason Fung, a professor at the University of Toronto, diets don't always work, and they certainly don't work long-term, right? When you understand what is causing your insulin resistance, and we can start to connect the dots between all of the health issues that we have. Because when I donated a kidney and I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease, my doctor said you need to lose weight. Well, I did, but I didn't know that brain fog and anxiety, depression, sleep apnea, acid reflux, weight, stage 4 kidney disease, all of these things are all interrelated to the same thing. And yet, when we go to a doctor, we are treating every single symptom on its own. Why are we treating the symptoms? Why not focus on just putting that fire out? When you put the fire out, the smoke fades away, the symptoms fade away. And that's what Monique has done. And so once again, for those of you that are, if you're not following Monique, please do. She's got an amazing, incredible story. And we're not AI. This is real human beings that struggle with our health. And we were given an opportunity and we took that chance, right? We didn't care that, there's millions of other supplements around the world. This is a system that actually works and is clinically proven to work. So Monique, you're amazing. I love your story. I love the people that you're already helping. You are changing people's lives. You really are. You are giving people their life back. Well, I appreciate that.
You did. You changed mine. And I have one member that's only been taking this protocol now for less than 2 weeks. He had gout in his feet. And within 2 days of using this, his pain went away. Within 4 days, he can actually grab his toe and without it hurting, and he can bend it and do whatever he wants now with it without it hurting. This is within days of doing the protocol.
I love that.
I do eat more health conscious thanks to this, and I do a lot of fasting. He hasn't changed his diet yet, but it's like you said, right? You don't have to change a lot for it to work.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Monique, you're amazing, and I'm so glad to be partners with you and sharing this with the world. Like you're going to continue to change hundreds, if not thousands, of people's lives. And
That's my mission.
and when I think about, what can I do? This isn't about making a sell. This is about whose life can I touch today? Who can I help serve, right? And this is a way to serve other people who might have no idea that there's something outside of what their doctor's just wanting to throw at them that actually works better than what the doctor's throwing at them. So you're amazing, and I'm so glad to be in this business with you. Folks, reach out to Monique. If you're curious, just get with her, and she will share this with you. You're amazing, Monique, and so glad to be doing this with you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. I hope you have an amazing day.
You as well. Thanks.
Okay. Bye. Folks, this is what it's all about. I am living proof, and you just heard Monique's story, right? This saved her life. She's already affecting other people's lives. Whether you have skin issues, skin tags, weight issues, blood pressure, cholesterol issues, neuropathy, retinopathy, gout, GERD, IBS, vertigo. I mean, there's so many things that exist today that quite honestly didn't exist 50 years ago. They didn't. And we have a solution to the biggest problem in the world. And if this resonates with you, if it sounds like what you've been looking for, you don't have to wait. And BG Harris, I think that's Brenda Harris. Thank you for the order. This is going to change your life. I'm so glad that you decided to make that choice, because this is absolutely amazing. It works. And BG Harris, Brenda, when you get this, you're going to notice a difference day one. And when you get to a point where it's changed your life, like it has Monique's and mine's and her customer who got rid of gout, his pain is gone after 4 days, you're going to want to share this with other people. Folks, this is what this is all about. Okay? I might not be the smartest individual in the world. I know I'm not. My friend that actually shared this with me, she is smart. She's a rocket scientist. She's a literal rocket scientists. She used to work for a company in Tucson, Arizona called Raytheon. 27 years she was there. And not only does she make 4 times what she did there, but the impact that she is having in people's lives doing this has changed my life, and it's changed thousands of people's lives. This is no joke. You know, I wanted to be a police officer. That was my career. That was my goal, to become a cop. You know, my degree is in management, but I studied criminal justice and I studied psychology because I thought, well, if I don't become a cop, maybe I'll become a psychologist, right? I feel like I make more of an impact doing this than I ever would if I was a police officer. And quite honestly, I'm glad I'm not. Okay, I would not want to be doing that right now. This changed my life. It's changed Rhonda's life. It's changed Carrie Flynn's life, Miji's life. It's changed Monique's life. There are so many people, folks, that are literally walking around having no idea that a simple tea and fiber that you just mix with water actually works better than the injections and pills that are often prescribed to us. If you are looking for something, seriously, if you are looking for a natural alternative, if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you want something that actually works, that you can actually try, you can take it for a test drive for 90 days. There's no risk. If you don't like the taste, if you feel like it's not going to work for you, folks, I will jump on a phone call with you. I will call the company with you and we'll get your money back. I don't care about the sell. I care about sharing something that literally works. It works. I used to be a pharmaceuticals a rep. I used to go into the Mayo Clinic here in Scottsdale, or Phoenix, Arizona. Folks, I never learned any of this when I was a pharmaceutical rep. This is a pharmaceutical's worst nightmare. If a doctor had 100 patients get on this and they used it for 90 days, I am confident to say that that doctor would be looking for a new line of work in 90 days. Why are we seeing these commercials? Every other commercial that we see on TV is what? Is promoting another medication. And now we've got these celebrities, ridiculous celebrities that I'm almost confident that 90% of them are not even using the medication that they're promoting. But because you're seeing Serena Williams or Charles Barkley or somebody talk about these, what are we doing? Oh, well, if it's good for them, it must be good for me. You guys realize that they're paid a lot of money to get on there and voice their opinion? Folks, if that's why you're using it, or you're using your medications because, well, it's managing my symptoms and my insurance pays for it, folks, you're never going to. When was the last time that you actually slept for 8 hours or 7 hours and didn't wake up to go to the bathroom? How many of you are tired all the time? How many of you have constant fatigue? How many of you are craving food all the time? You can't, like, you just finished eating a meal and you're already thinking about your snack or your next meal. Folks, if you are looking for a solution, if it sounds like what you are looking for, you don't have to wait, okay? You can fix your health and you can start today. And Brenda, I am so excited for you, seriously. And Brenda, you're gonna look for a message from me because I'm gonna send information that will literally outline exactly how to use the system. I wanna make sure that you get the most out of it. So, awesome. Thank you, Brenda. So, folks, if this resonates with you, if this sounds like what you have been looking for and praying for, you don't have to wait, okay? Very limited. I've got just a couple minutes and then I've got to hop off. But if this resonates with you, if you're interested in learning more, okay, I have pinned a form, okay, where you can stay in touch, okay? It's a way that you can learn more information, but I also have this, okay? And I'm happy to, for any one of you that is looking for this information, I'm happy to send that, okay? But the information's on my TikTok page. right? My pin videos explain a lot about what it is that, I'm sharing with people. But I pinned a form so that if you want to learn more and if you want to stay in contact, would be more than happy to do that. Okay. But folks, thank you so much for hopping on this live. Thank you to those that were sharing this. Thank you for the hearts tapping of the screen. I appreciate that. Are there any questions before I hop off? Because I just want to make sure that I've addressed the questions that people have. Is there anybody that's trying to find the LINK to order this? Well, guys, I hope